Level 1. These are the guys who think power comes from anger. They don't train, they don't know how to punch, and honestly, they probably shouldn't be throwing hands in the first place. I'm talking about your average street beefs warrior. This is level 1. The power isn't there because the fundamentals don't exist, and no amount of adrenaline is going to change that. If you want to hit hard, you need to actually learn how to punch. Level 2. Now we're talking about actual trained fighters. Guys who've put in real gym time, sparred hundreds of rounds, maybe even competed at a high level. But here's the thing, they just don't hit hard. Take Ben Askren. The man was an MMA world champion, but his striking, absolutely brutal to watch. And I'm not talking about technique being a little rough around the edges. I'm talking about punches that look like they were thrown underwater. Askren had the basics down. He knew how to throw a jab, how to close distance, how to set things up. But there was zero pop behind anything he threw. No snap, no explosiveness, just these arm punchy slaps that wouldn't knock out a middle schooler. And that's the defining trait of level 2. These fighters understand the mechanics. They've drilled combinations, they know footwork exists, but when it comes to actually generating knockout power, they're missing something fundamental. Maybe it's coordination, maybe it's just fast twitch muscle fiber, maybe they fight in a really low weight class. The only reason Askren survived at the highest level was because he never relied on his hands. He was a grappler first, second, and third. His striking was just a tool to close distance and drag you into his world, the ground, where he would maul you for 15 minutes straight. But stand and trade? Absolutely not. These guys are trained, they're legitimate, but when it comes to raw knockout power, they're at the bottom of the barrel amongst real fighters. Level 3. This is where things get interesting. Level 3 fighters can actually finish people, but nobody's confusing them with knockout artists. They're not putting people to sleep with one shot. They're not walking guys down and shutting their lights off, but they can get you out of there if the conditions are right. Nate Diaz is the perfect example, especially at the higher end of this level. Diaz doesn't throw hard, like at all. If you watch him hit pads, there's no thud, no explosion, just volume. But here's what separates him from level 2. Timing and relentless pressure. Diaz might not crack, but he'll drown you. He'll throw 200 punches around, and somewhere in that tsunami of slaps, he'll catch you clean. And once he smells blood, he doesn't let up. That's level 3 knockout power. It's not about one punch, it's about accumulation. These fighters finish people, but it's rarely spectacular. No highlight reel one-shot KOs. A lot of technical boxers live here. Guys with sharp timing, good placement, and the IQ to capitalize when an opening appears. They might not have the dynamite in their hands, but they know how to put combinations together that add up. So level 3 fighters aren't known for power, and they're not hunting the knockout, but they can get it done. Level 4. This is where we start talking about guys with legit power, not guys who wear you down or catch you with volume. We're talking about fighters who can legitimately put you to sleep with one clean shot. The power is real, the threat is always there, and everybody they fight knows it. Canelo Alvarez is the blueprint for this level. He's not headhunting for a knockout every round, but that right hand to the body, that left hook upstairs, they can end your night in a heartbeat. Canelo has put plenty of people down with single shots. But here's the thing, it doesn't happen every fight. Canelo is skilled enough to outbox you for 12 rounds. He doesn't need the knockout. But the power is always lurking, always a factor, and that changes everything. His opponents can't just walk forward. They can't get reckless, because one mistake, one momentary lapse in defense, and they're waking up wondering what happened. That's the difference between level 3 and level 4. At level 3, you're finishing guys through accumulation, through pressure. At level 4, you've got that genuine one-punch power that makes people respect you. This is where most high-level strikers land. They've got enough pop to keep opponents honest, enough power to change a fight in a single exchange, but they're not knocking everyone out. And if we're being real, this is also where the hardest hitters at lightweight and below live. Physics matters. A 135-pounder throwing perfect technique can have legitimate knockout power at their weight class, but they're not putting heavyweights to sleep. Gervonta Davis, and if we're talking MMA, Prime McGregor and Topuria. They're dangerous knockout artists, but compared to the heavier weight classes, they're not on the same level. Level 4 is solid power, respected power, and for the lower weight classes, sometimes touch of death power. Level 5. This is where knockout power stops becoming a tool and starts becoming identity. These aren't guys who can knock you out. These are guys who will erase you from consciousness. We're talking brutal, highlight reel, career-defining knockouts that get replayed for years, and almost all of them upper weight classes, welterweight and above, because at this level, physics and power collide in the worst possible way for whoever's across the cage. Robbie Lawler is the perfect example. Ruthless Robbie didn't just win fights, he ended them violently. When Lawler connected clean, people didn't just go down, they went stiff. That's level 5 power, the kind that makes you wonder if someone's okay after the ref steps in. Tyron Woodley, the same story. Woodley wasn't hunting for decisions, he was hunting for a finish, and when he found it, it was always devastating. Then there's Yoel Romero, arguably the most terrifying example of level 5 power in MMA history. Romero wasn't just strong, he was explosive in a way that didn't seem human. This is the level where every punch, every strike, carries bad intentions. These guys didn't need perfect setups or long combinations. One clean shot is enough, and the damage isn't just physical, it's psychological. Once you've been starched by level 5 power, you don't forget it, your corner doesn't forget it, and the fans definitely don't forget it. You can have all the technique in the world, but if you get caught clean by one of these guys, you're going out, period. This is where knockout power becomes legendary, where fighters build up entire reputations on violence. Level 6. This is the absolute peak of knockout artistry. Mike Tyson in his prime is the gold standard. Iron Mike wasn't just winning fights, he was destroying grown men in under 2 minutes. Opponents were terrified before they even stepped in the ring. You could see it in their eyes during the stare down. They knew what was coming. Tyson made world-class fighters look like they didn't belong in the same sport. That's level 6 power, the kind that ends careers and creates highlight reels that live forever. Then you've got Alex Pereira, the modern day version of pure destruction. Poatan came from kickboxing where he was already a terror, knocking people out cold with those brutal left hooks. Then he transitioned to MMA and somehow got scarier. Israel Adesanya, knocked out twice, once in kickboxing, once in MMA. Sean Strickland, put to sleep. Jamal Hill, brutal first round finish. Yuri Prochazka, knocked out in back-to-back fights. Pereira doesn't just have power, he has timing, precision, and that cold, calculated violence that makes every strike he throws feel like it could be the last thing you ever see. The crazy part? He's doing this at light heavyweight and middleweight. Most level 6 power guys are heavyweights because that's where the mass and force naturally live. But Pereira is proving that if your technique is perfect, you can terrorize any division. What separates level 6 from level 5 is consistency and dominance. Level 5 guys have scary knockouts. Level 6 guys have an entire body of work that's nothing but violence. Every fight, every opponent, it doesn't matter if you're champion or a contender. If you're standing across from level 6 power, you're in survival mode from the opening bell. Promoters build entire cards around them because people will pay just to see someone get knocked out into another dimension. Level 7. This is it, the absolute pinnacle of knockout power in combat sports history. We're not talking about fighters who hit hard. We're talking about fighters whose power defies logic, breaks records, and leaves scientists scratching their heads trying to explain how a human can generate that much force. This is Francis Ngannou and Deontay Wilder. Go and watch what he did to Alistair Overeem. Sent him into the shadow realm with an uppercut that looked like it separated his soul from his body. But here's where it gets truly insane. Francis came from MMA, transitioned to boxing, and in his very first professional boxing match, dropped Tyson Fury, the lineal heavyweight champion, one of the best boxers of this generation. That's level 7 power, the kind that transcends sport, transcends technique, transcends everything. You can have all the boxing skill in the world, but if Francis Ngannou touches your chin, you're going down. Then there's Deontay Wilder, 43 knockouts in 48 fights. Wilder's right hand isn't a punch, it's a cheat code. It doesn't matter if he's losing every round, if he's getting outboxed, if he's hurt. One right hand and the fight's over. Wilder had finished heavyweights with single punches so many times that it stopped being surprising and started being expected. What makes Wilder level 7 isn't just the knockout percentage, it's the walk-off KOs. The kind where he doesn't even need to follow up because he knows it's over. He just lands, turns around, and walks to his corner while his opponent's still trying to figure out what planet they're on. Level 7 power is generational. It's the kind of power that gets talked about decades later. This is level 7, the hardest hitters to ever do it.